one of the favorite songs that I like, and then I just asked him, "Hey, can I use the intro and use it for my intro and outro?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Nice.
So I'm still waiting to play the cowbell when they play it at a show. I want to throw the cowbell in there.
Just tell them, or just go up there. No, don't even ask.
Don't even ask.
Just show up on stage.
Yeah, man. You know what? I was supposed to do that, and I said this times on the show, but they had a tribute for Lisa G.
Yeah.
Down at the Nest,
Uh-huh.
and Strand they were supposed to close that night, and it rained its ass off. Dude. The storm came through, and I had the cowbell ready for that show. For that time, I was like, okay, I'm going on tonight. I'm going on tonight, and they didn't even get to play.
Oh.
Now, I mean, they had to get their stuff
Everything
off the stage, man, because it was a crazy, crazy night.
That just means it wasn't your time.
It wasn't right. And Lisa was like, "No, not today, bro, not today." So, yeah. Funny. But anyway, man, it was a hot one today.
It was a hot one today. Yeah, right? It's starting to warm up.
Yeah. Oh, damn,
which I don't mind. Which I don't mind.
Uh huh.
I don't mind.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna grab me a beer real quick. Are you good?
I'm good right now. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mid set. We'll get another one.
Dang it. I always do this. I grab me a beer, then I don't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Dang. Usually we have somebody here to help us, but we're good. We're good. But yeah, let's go ahead and start the shit. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Modcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Modcast.
I am your host, Big Mod. I got Chris. Chris, it's just you and I tonight.
Yes.
Just chilling. Your mom went to like I said, what did I tell you? Oh, retirement party. Yeah, that's where she went. But yeah. Oh, Chris, you know what? Before I intro the guest, can you go ahead and play our sponsor reads? This podcast is sponsored by Quinn Concrete Construction. The company motto: no job too big or too small. Whatever your concrete need is, they have the experience and the professionalism to ensure a quality job every time. For a free estimate, call 913-279-1448. That's 913-279-1448 and ask for Joe Quinn.
This episode is sponsored by Goal Fire Protection. With over 26 years of fire sprinkler experience, Goal Fire Protection has built our livelihoods on established relationships and providing quality fire sprinkler systems. From retrofits, remodels, service, repairs, new installation, and inspections, simple to the extreme, we can help you every step of the way. No job is too small or too big for our knowledgeable crews. For your free estimate, call 913-441-3390 or email us at gochoa@goalfireprotection.com.
A little bit and whatnot. But anyway, Chris, let's go ahead and welcome our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest for the evening, Mr. Juan-Carlos Chaurand. Let's go. Let's get them applause going on.
Oh, I love it. I love the sound bites.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a standing O, brother. It's
I like it.
Everybody's been waiting for this.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's get the horns going.
Yeah.
Man.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us, brother.
No, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I know you're a very busy guy, so I'm glad you were able to make some time for us.
Definitely. Thank you.
Come in.
Of course.
Yeah, man. How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. Yeah, like you said, just staying busy, doing a bunch of things here and there, and all is good, man. All is real good.
Yep. Feeling good today?
Feeling real good today.
Yeah. 9 to 5 keep you busy?
For the most part, I help with my father. We have a tortilla business, and so I help him throughout the week and throughout the days, and so that's kind of my focus. And then on top of that, just kind of doing other things creatively here and there. So I kind of have to balance it all out. But for the most part, I enjoy being able to work aside, my pops and
that's cool, man.
Helping him out.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. My dad's he's a very simple guy.
Yeah.
Very laid back. Kind of like I think I kind of take after him a lot.
Uh-huh.
Not only that, plus he was a musician or is a musician back in the day, and so
that's awesome.
I get a lot of that from him. So my personality traits and everything. So me and him, be able to work together.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's pretty awesome. So born and raised in KCK or KCMO?
Quesimo.
Born
Yeah,
and
born and
raised
raised
in
in
KCMO.
Quesimo. Yeah.
All right. And both parents from Mexico.
Both parents are from
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah. So my dad was born in Guadalajara. Grew up
Okay.
in Guadalajara till he was about his late teens. Right before he met my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was born in Mexico City, but grew up in Kansas City.
Okay.
And then yeah, they had met in Mexico. My dad, he was a musician, played in a psychedelic rock band called the Spiders, based out of Guadalajara.
Really?
And-
And they used the English word
Yeah,
spiders.
the Spiders. Yeah,
Was it Los Spiders or the Spiders?
The
or-
Spiders. Yeah,
the Spi-
The
really?
Spiders. Yeah. Well, they go by both. They went by both. It was like
Okay.
the Spiders or the Spiders. It kind of just depended on who was who was saying it. And yeah, they were well known. They were signed to RCA Records there for a little bit. My dad recorded on a couple albums, and yeah, they sang in English. Well, the main singer, he sang in English
Yeah.
because he was originally, I believe, he was from Minnesota, but then
Okay.
moved to Mexico when he was young. His family moved to Mexico, but grew up, but then he kept the language. And so that was a time when, psychedelic music was kind of coming out and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And, late 60s, early 70s.
Psychedelic music. What do you mean by that?
Well, so if you can imagine like the Doors and stuff like that,
Okay.
like that type of music, and that was coming out around that time.
Okay.
But he loved, he grew up listening to the Beatles and all
Mhm.
that, and every other thing, the European stuff that came, to the
Man.
United States, and it hit Mexico too. And
Is their
So-
music is it still out there? I mean, are you
yeah, you could YouTube their
go to
music.
Spotify?
Yeah, you could. I don't know. I don't know if it's on
Spotify,
Spotify.
Apple?
It's definitely on YouTube. I know that for sure.
Really? I'm gonna have to check that
But I
out.
have to. I had told my dad a long time ago. I'm like, I need to find out who owns your guys' masters and stuff like that, because I would love to.
Yeah.
I feel like you own. I mean, you should own a piece of that at some point.
Uh-huh.
Because unfortunately, I think there's only two of them, 2 or 3 of the original band members that are still alive.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but it's it's amazing. It's amazing story. So like I said, my parents, they met in Mexico. My mom met my dad in Mexico, and then they got married and came
Really?
back together.
Is there a story on how they met? Was she at a concert?
Well,
or-
it was my aunt who was kind of like a groupie,
okay.
you know,
Of the Spiders.
of the Spiders and of just the bands that
Okay,
were there
yeah.
in Mexico. But she was a big fan of the Spiders, and she just happened, I guess, to go to a concert. And my dad, my mom, or I guess my aunt had known the band members, and she introduced my mom to my dad.
Yeah.
And I guess it was kind of one of those love at first sight ideas.
Oh, man, that's-
stories. And so, yeah,
That's pretty cool.
they got married, and then they moved back to the States, and
Uh-huh.
they came to Kansas City first, and then they moved to California for a little bit, and then they came back to Kansas City. And
Okay, I gotta ask, what instruments did your dad play?
my dad was the drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a drummer, so he was the drummer of the band.
All right, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And does he still hit the
Every
drums?
once in a while,
Does he? Okay.
every once in a while,
Yeah.
there'll be times where we have shows, and if he happens to be there, I'll invite him up to come.
That's-
and he
yeah.
loves it. I mean, it's his passion, one of his passions. So, but then even later in life, he started a band. He was in a couple bands, and the lead guitarist for my band, Making Movies, his dad is a musician as well, and played guitar. And so when we kind of got together, when we first started playing, about a year or two afterwards, they got together and started a little band.
Okay.
And so it was more laid back,
That's cool, yeah.
They play more covers like Santana and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and things that they enjoyed. So yeah, no, it was always fun just being around it and being around music all the time.
Did your dad have a favorite drummer back in the day? I mean, was there somebody that?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever asked him, but like I said, he was a big fan of the Beatles, so probably Ringo for the time, just because I think he was very simplistic.
Yeah.
And my dad was a very kind of laid back drummer. He didn't like to do too much.
Yeah, and I would say wasn't that like that in the '60s? The drummers really didn't, like Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
He was just laid back and
Exactly.
just play, and then Ringo too.
Yeah, same thing. So I
And-
think he just kind of modeled his drumming kind of
Yeah.
based on that, and he didn't really. Plus, the music kind of lended itself to it. It didn't lend itself to a bunch of noise and all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. So
You know, because when these drummers, they have drum offs and whatnot.
yeah.
You know, I mean, to sit and watch your dad just
Yeah, no. My dad would. He would even admit he's like, no, I'm not that
like
type of.
a guy.
I'm not that. No, I'm not that type of drummer. So.
Yeah, like you said, let's just make some noise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Start going crazy. So mom and dad got married, and then the family started to grow. How many siblings?
So I have 3 siblings, 3 brothers.
Okay, you have
2 older brothers and 1 younger brother.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was pretty much the only one who took up the music between me and my younger brother.
Okay.
But we all grew up dancing, folklorico.
Yeah.
My mom had or still has the dance group at Atotonilco, that is now 40 some years old now.
Yeah.
And so
that's pretty cool.
and so yeah, it's still it's going. But like I said, we all grew up dancing. So my mom was happy about that. She got 4 boys, but we all danced. And then my older brothers went on to do other things, and then I was the one who kind of decided that I wanted to pursue more of the arts, and that's kind of what I went with. And ever since I started playing music, it kind of caught my my attention, and it just kind of snowballed from one thing to another. And I kind of started playing. I was playing professionally, or I guess I got my real professional start playing with the friends here, Aslan.
Oh, okay.
And the guys there kind of they first invited my dad to join because they wanted to expand and be a group, because it was just a trio for the long time. There was Trio Aslan for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then they decided that they wanted to be become a group and play more top 40 stuff and other things and expand. And so my dad, he kind of graciously decided, he's like, I'm too old. I'm not going to be playing in clubs and things like that. I can't play every weekend. I'm not going to start at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
They're like, but, if you want, my son can try it out. And at the time, I knew, because they wanted a timbal player, Latin percussion. Yeah. And so at the time, I didn't really know nothing about Latin percussion, because I just kind of went with drums. I was kind of a kit player. But thankfully, as I joined the band, the timbales are the closest things to some drums. You have sticks and you hit them, and so you're good. And you only have 2 tones. It's not that it's not too complicated.
Yeah.
And so they're like, sure, have them come and rehearse. And so I went to rehearse with them, and thankfully there was 2 other percussionists that kind of guided me and helped me with rhythms and things like that. I had no idea. I mean, I had rhythm, obviously, and I could play, but I had no idea what, certain rhythms were, or when to hit the bell, or things like that, or when to do stylistic things. So, I had a couple of guys that were in the band that helped me along the way. And that just kind of took off, and I just started playing with them for a while, until one of the members at the time, he decided he was going to branch off, and he wanted to start a salsa band. And so he asked me to join him, and so I joined him. But then I ended up having to learn how to play other percussion, and so that's when I had to learn to play congas and bongos and everything like that. So I stuck with him for a little while, and then he decided to move, and then another member from that band decided to start his own band. So he asked me to join him, and so I joined him, and then things just kind of led to one thing. One thing led to another. And I had to learn percussion along the way, and I had to learn different things. So that's kind of right now. Thankfully, I think that's what kind of prepared me to do what I do now. And when I started playing with making movies, it was kind of that situation where Enrique, the lead singer, we had met back in 2009.
Yeah,
it was kind of when I started, and we met through MySpace randomly. Yeah. And it wasn't until about months later till I actually saw him and met him out. Okay. And I asked him to, if I could come rehearse with them, and it was mainly just jam with them, because I kind of heard what they were trying to do with their music at the time, and so it was very creative. It was new, something that I never heard before, and I enjoyed it. So I was like, well, how about I just come and jam, see what happens, and then I went to the rehearsal, and then kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, seriously, but before we get into that, because we're definitely gonna get really deep into that.
For sure.
But I want to know where in KC did you grow up?
I grew up in the West Side.
West Side. Okay.
In the West Side, Kansas City.
Where about?
So my family, I was little before we moved, so we were on Madison.
Okay.
And right by the church.
Okay.
And while we were like 2 houses down from what was called New West. school, but now it's the middle school for the Guadalupe Center.
Okay.
And that's where I went to school for a little bit. Then I went to Primitivo Garcia up until 5th grade, and then from there I went to Foreign Language Academy for middle school, and then high school. I went to a couple high schools, but then my family moved up to Coleman Highlands, right up the block.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I grew up, in that neighborhood.
So but you said right there by the church.
By Sacred Heart.
Okay, by Sacred Heart. So not too far from the Lopez family, right?
Yeah, like a
Luther
couple blocks. Yeah, just a couple
Okay.
blocks away from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so my older brothers are their age.
There. Okay.
And so they all
Luther
went to
and
school.
Bethel.
Yeah, so they all went to school together. They all went to the Catholic school together. They went to St. Pius together. They went to high school together. And so so they all grew up together,
Yeah.
and we've known each other's families for
Forever.
forever.
Since, yeah.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah. Would you say you had a fun childhood?
I did have a fun childhood.
Yeah.
I had a real fun childhood.
What was the neighborhood like back then?
It was. I mean,
because the houses like really close together, the streets were narrow.
yeah, definitely. I mean, for my brothers, it was different from me because obviously, like I said, they were more in the hood, in the neighborhood with the Lopez's and all them, and so they had a different story than. I mean, their stories crack me up and also scare me because I'm like, holy shit, you guys did what? You did what? And oh my god, like I couldn't imagine. But at the same time, yeah, and like I said, growing up the street there in Coleman Highlands, we made friends. There was the Garcia family and all them, and the Castilleja family, and so we all made friends, and I made friends with all them, and so we would always get together, play football, play basketball, because we all love sports.
Yeah.
So we either, we had a good time in the lots there playing football, or if somebody had a basketball goal in their backyard, so we would go get together and play basketball, or even at some point we even threw on some rollerblades and played some roller hockey. You know? Yeah. So it was just always random, but we always get together and have fun. And I was really into sports back when I was younger, so I would either be playing sports or I'd be dancing or helping out at the family restaurant. So I would be involved with a lot of things, and obviously music too. So, but music music didn't get serious until later in life. Okay. Yeah. But I would be in like school bands and the drill team and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of family, a lot of cousins?
I mean, I have a lot of cousins.
But but anywhere near where you grew up?
I mean, yes and no, because it was like there was cousins that I had no idea that were my cousins. Later, they're like, "Oh yeah, you were my cousin." I'm like, "I had no idea you were my cousin."
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, because the family, it's a big family. Like there's still members that I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because it was like my family is my two great grandparents. They married. So it was a brother and sister that married a brother and sister.
Okay.
And so they each had
12
kids and things like that. So it was like the family just in one shot, just, so imagine having a bunch of family. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line you're probably,
I know,
you could be a distant cousin. So yeah, no, I mean, there was family all the time everywhere. And especially having the family restaurant La Fonda del Taquito down on the boulevard, like, we'd have family come down there all the time and just introduce themselves or just be like, yeah, you're my whatever cousin, or I'm this somebody's cousin, or this is my grandmother, and so it's like always just finding out. Yeah.
And it was back then when we had to be careful who you could date and who you can't.
100%, definitely, yeah. So it was a big thing.
Yeah. So you say you were an outdoor kid?
I was an outdoor kid.
I think I have to say I think we were all outdoor kids.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, of course, the game consoles came in, the Ataris, and
for sure
later. But
yeah,
I don't think, like, we had an Atari, but it didn't keep me inside. I was like, I think I would play outside. It's time to come home, have dinner, and then, okay, maybe jump on the Atari.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, whatever.
Yeah, for me, it was like, the
had.
Nintendo and stuff like that, Super Nintendos and stuff like that. But even then, I would spend about an hour probably max on those things, and then be outside, or it was time to go do something. It was never like.
Yeah, I wonder if is it just the graphics nowadays that just keep people.
For sure. Yeah, I mean now there's a whole thing. I mean now there's gaming. People make money off of it now. Now you could be you could pursue that as a career now.
Yeah.
And back then, no, you couldn't pursue.
You remember the was it Pong? Where you just had this, you just turn this, and then this ball dude just bounced.
But that game, I could play that forever too. But yeah.
I mean, Chris, have you ever played Pong?
I know of it.
Have you ever played it?
No. I didn't even know it had a name. I just know what it was.
That's funny. Did you own a bike?
I did own a bike.
Did you? Was it one of those bikes where everybody be like, "Dang, can I ride it?" Or
I don't think it was that cool of a bike. I mean, it was just.
It got you.
It did what I needed it to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ride it around the neighborhood and things like that. So
Yeah. So how about a big wheel? Remember the big wheels?
I had a big wheel.
Did you?
I had a big wheel.
But was this a big wheel that was yours, or was it your older brothers, and then it kind of passed on?
No, I think it was my own. I know it was my own little big wheel.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure. My parents, they definitely, they provided when we got spoiled sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't all the time.
Right.
It wasn't all the time, but definitely when there was like moments where it felt like it was, deserving.
Yeah.
They definitely, made sure that.
That's cool.
They
you remember the green machine? Did you have one of those?
I didn't have one of those. No,
yeah.
but I do know the green machine for sure.
I had one of those.
My brother might have. I don't know.
Yeah, I was, of course, for the longest time for 9 years I was the only one until my sister came and joined me. But yeah, I was that spoiled kid.
Okay.
Because I was the only one, and I had the big wheel. I had the bike. My bike was a chopper.
Okay.
So I had the handlebars doing this, and so it was the cool bike, and everybody always wanted to ride it. But to watch somebody ride it was funny because it was just so hard to steer.
Yeah.
That front wheel would just wiggle while they're trying to figure out how to ride. I even had a go-kart.
Oh yeah, nice.
Just throw the gas in it, and then because I live right by. I don't know if you're familiar with the Argentine area. But I lived on the 15th Street, and then we had Franklin Center.
Okay.
It was a big.
Yeah, no, you know exactly.
Yeah, so that was my spot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure.
Every summer, every night, every day, we were out there. Yeah. Just doing it up. And that's why I like talking about. That's why I like bringing up questions like this to people, and just to see if we had similar,
For sure.
Stories, because I had the playground. I'm sure you said you had the playground or the lot or somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
That everybody was always at.
Yeah, we would always make plans or like, oh, this time we'll go over here. If we're gonna play football or something, we know where to go.
Yeah.
If we're gonna play basketball, we'll probably go here. Or if somebody got a new basketball goal, so we're gonna try it out. We're gonna dunk on this one.
Tear this one up. Yeah, we did that quite a bit too.
Yeah, because it's like if you had the one that could go up and down and you could switch the levers on that. Oh yeah, we'd make sure
right?
we lower that thing. Yeah, for sure. Because we all thought we were Michael Jordan.
I know,
at
right?
the time, of course.
Yeah. See, and those are good times, man.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm hoping, my kids, my older boys, Chris, my daughter. I hope when they get older, they can say they had a good childhood.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I have 2 little ones too. I have a 9-year-old and a little girl who's a year and a half.
Oh, wow, okay.
But my boy, I make sure that he's involved in all kinds of activities and playing and being outside. I mean, he loves to play soccer.
Okay.
And so he's, I make sure that he does it. I mean, he has his phone and games, but he doesn't get on it as much as I thought he probably would.
Yeah.
But because I like to try to make sure he's entertained with other things.
Okay. Well, is soccer in you guys' blood?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing soccer too.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't until like about my high school year where I got really serious with soccer, because I would play, recreational, with all, with the clubs and the neighborhood.
So
and
you,
the neighborhood
you had
stuff.
the uniforms. You had
I had organized soccer around for sure.
Okay.
And so but I get it, because that's how I, like I said, that's how I grew up, and I want him to kind of experience that as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever share stories with them?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Things
definitely
that you might have done, and
Oh yeah, all the time. If something comes up to where I can remember, I will let them know. Be like, oh, this happened here, or this happened there, and stuff like that, or I played this and I played that, and so he's always like, nah, really, or so I gotta find evidence somewhere to be able to prove it. Yeah.
Here, call your Theo. He'll tell
exactly.
you.
Yeah. It's like, I don't like to brag, but I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah. Your summers growing up, did you guys go quite a bit to Mexico?
When I was younger, yeah, we would definitely go. I mean, we'd go visit family, or we just go to the beach, somewhere, whether it be Cancun or Puerto Vallarta and things like that, and go visit family. So yeah, we would go more often than I guess I could remember.
Yeah.
Because when you're little, you don't think about it. You're like, oh, fun, we're just going on a vacation, and
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, we went quite a bit. We would probably go once a year, at least to go either one or two things. We either go to visit family or to just actually have a family vacation.
Okay.
And so yeah, I mean, I think that really kind of helped me appreciate my culture and my
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
On top of my family making sure that we were very proud of where we came from.
Hmm.
So if it was definitely it was good for me to be able to experience those things for sure.
Yeah. When was the last time you been?
Yeah, last time I went
far
to
deep
Mexico.
south?
Well, I've been with my band. We've gone and toured,
Oh, okay.
but I haven't been able to take my family yet. That's one thing that I definitely want to do is be able to take my family to go and visit Mexico, and not only that, be able to meet their family and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But as a family thing, yeah, it's been a minute since I've
Mhm.
been gone to Mexico, yeah, and so I miss it for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
that's cool. And you still have family there.
I still have family there, yeah, all over Mexico for sure.
That's cool. And I think it's cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure they know what you do for
Yeah,
a
they
living,
do.
and so they keep they see you on
Yeah,
YouTube.
thankfully, technology, Facebook, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They can't take.
And when this episode hits, it's got to hit Mexico.
For sure,
you
we'll
know.
send it. I'll send it
Yeah,
over.
let's
yeah.
do that. What schools did you attend again?
Yeah. So grade school. Why? My kindergarten year, I went only 1 year to New West, and
Okay.
it was there in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And then at that time, they were going to close that down, because they were building Primitivo Garcia, over there by Matty Road Center.
It's up on the
new Matty Road Center where they have it up there. And so I went there up until 5th grade, and then because that's all I went to K through 5, and then the middle school I went to Foreign Language Academy over in Linwood, off of
Oh.
Linwood back there.
Okay.
And then that was 6th through 8th grade, my middle school years, and then high school I went 2 years to St. Pius, my first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, and then I graduated from Paseo, my junior and senior year. I went to Paseo High School.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
that's what my school.
Did you enjoy your school time?
I did for different reasons.
Okay.
My when it came to high school years, my first 2 years at Pius, I enjoyed them because I got to really focus on sports and soccer and really kind of get heavily involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun for me. And then when I went to Paseo, that's where I really got to focus on the arts because it was an art school, and so that's where I kind of honed in on music.
Okay.
And I still played sports. They didn't have soccer, but I played with the club team after I left St. Pius, but then I got to play basketball at Paseo because I grew up playing basketball as
Okay.
well, and so that basketball became kind of like the main sport for me at Paseo, and it was funny because it was predominantly black school,
Yeah.
and so they saw this white boy come in, and I was like, I'm not white.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican, so they were like, oh, okay, so they kind of made a difference,
Yeah.
definitely seeing, but I mean, you wouldn't, if you didn't know, you just see, because we played, all those interscholastic teams that were there, so it was like Central, Southeast, Lincoln, so again, all predominantly black schools, so I would be the only light-skinned dude on the court at any given time. And so it was a lot of fun, though. But it definitely toughened me up, and it got me better at the sport. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time playing basketball those years that I played. And because I also played at Pius, too, during those years, during the seasons. But then, yeah, it was a whole another ball game going to Paseo and playing with them. So, yeah, it was fun. I had a good time.
That's good. Did you get a chance to play with your brothers, or they or they too much?
No, they were a lot older than me.
They're a lot older. Okay.
Yeah,
How far apart?
So between me and my oldest, it's 14, and then after that, it's 12 years. So we're it's a big gap. So them two are closer.
Yeah.
My two older brothers, and then for some reason, my parents left a big gap. And then it's me and my younger brother, who's 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
And so between the youngest and the oldest are 20 years apart.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's how it went.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. And but what's cool though is you guys are really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think I'm sure there's some families out there if they're that far apart, how close can you be with them, 'cause
Yeah.
you get older and you start your own family here, and
Definitely.
yeah, but no, that's what's good about you guys, your family's really close.
Yeah, we try to maintain that. I mean, our grandparents kind of instilled that in us. And,
Yeah.
And so we try to keep that as much as we can. Although there's always family drama and there's always things that happen here and there. But you kind of try to push that aside to make sure that you still realize you're
You
still
gotta get those
family.
family reunions going and say, okay, everybody, fucking behave.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody behave. Let's just have a nice little party, and then when we're done, could you go do
Or
your
if we
shit?
squash it, there's a parking lot outside. All right, go
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah, man. Do you have any cool memories? Is there a high school or middle school that think about, or just something that just sticks in your head? And
Um, you know,
you know,
it's hard. It's funny because I feel like I've lived many lives, especially traveling and touring and playing music and things like
uh-huh.
that. So it's like it's hard for me to remember as far as going back to my childhood because I mean obviously I I had a great childhood. I grew up, because I could have went down the wrong path. I definitely had friends who, didn't come out, you know, being able to have the same type of opportunities that I had, or necessarily just didn't have the support,
Yeah.
the either the family support or whatever type of support to be able to do the things that I did. And so I consider myself very fortunate
Okay.
to be able to have grown up the way that I did. And so, but I feel like there was a lot of things that happened. I remember playing basketball at a young age and being on those hoop it up tournaments and those
Oh
throughout
yeah, 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 yeah,
tournaments.
yeah.
Those were
Those
those were very fond
they
memories that I
were
had,
they were fun
and they
too,
were
right there.
fun. They were a lot of fun, and I remember traveling with my team. We were the KC Bulls, and
Okay.
so shout out to all the homies if you're watching, if you see this,
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
still following me or any type of social media. Like those were really good memories of mine, and I feel like around that time, around my teenage years, were kind of the most fond moments that I have.
okay.
And not only that, still dancing, traveling dancing, going to conferences, whether that be throughout the United States or in Mexico, and getting those memories. I mean, those are very core memories to me.
Yeah.
And growing up dancing, and I had a lot of fun with that too. It was never a thing that it was like, ah, man, I gotta go do this, or my mom's making me do that. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there probably were moments where I'm like, ah, but for the most part, it was always positive.
Yeah.
It was always a positive thing that we did, and dancing at fiestas and things like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, it was just something that I grew up with. It was just second nature to me. So I never really thought about it as a like a task or anything that I had to do. It was more just so it's just part of me. It's just
Yeah.
part of what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Were you, in high school? Were you the cool guy?
I
Did
try
you
to
have-
be. I
you-
try to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean.
well, when I went to St. Pius, I didn't know anybody.
Oh.
I
Okay.
had no. I knew. I think I knew one kid, and he was the only Mexican kid that was from the neighborhood because he went with me to school pretty much throughout grade school, and he happened to go there too because he had an older sibling who went there, and I didn't know where I wanted to go to high school. I know a lot of friends were going to public schools, like I said, either Lincoln or Paseo, because that was just like the natural gravitation. And then I had some friends who went to either like Bishop Miege and
Yeah.
some other Catholic schools. But at first I was like, I don't want to go to private school, But then my brother pulled, and it came to like literally like the last hour, like what you have to pick somewhere where you're gonna go.
Really? So back then you were able to pick whatever school you were going to go to. I mean, because if it's a private
Yeah, if it's a private school, you had
can
to
do
like
that.
you had to either
because you're going to pay anyway. You like a tuition, right? There.
yeah, exactly, you had to pay tuition, but you also had to you had to do some type of either testing in, or you had to just kind of because there was a limit,
Yeah.
to the students that they. So I even went to go apply at Rockhurst. I went to apply at Pembroke Hill. I went to go to apply to a bunch of schools, and nothing really. I was kind of like, I don't know. I couldn't make up my mind, and
Yeah.
I was very just undecisive until one of my older brothers.
Yeah.
He's like, well, look, I can get you into St. Pius. I know the principal, and if you want to go there, try it out, see what happens. And I was like, all right, screw it. No, I'll try it out. I'll go to St. Pius.
Yeah.
And then at the time, they had just started a soccer program. I think it was like only 2 or 3 years old, the soccer program. So they were like, we're looking, if you want to play soccer, you already medically play varsity because we only have one team.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you're,
So you're getting your letter no matter what.
yeah, exactly. So you're already automatically on the squad.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. And so I signed up. I remember going like a month before school started. We had training and everything like that, and it was fun. So, like I said, I enjoyed those first 2 years. I became, I guess, cool, quote unquote, cool,
Yeah.
because I was like the only again, I was only Mexican.
You only widow.
I was only somewhat of a widow, but because everybody's either white or Italian.
Yeah.
I was only Mexican there. I played soccer, so it was already like I was already in a sport, and so that helped. And then I kind of was like the only kid who knew how to dance, so that also helped. So at dances and things like that, of course, I would dance with everybody and anybody, and it was. So I quickly, and plus I'm a very, I'm an open person. I like to talk to people.
Yeah.
I like to get to know people. I'm not an introvert, and so it was easy for me to kind of make friends, and that happened. Yeah, for the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, and then it wasn't until after I had to leave there, and then I went to Paseo, and same thing. But I ended up kind of seeing more friends at Paseo. From middle school, so like it was like a 2-year break from those friends, and then seeing them again was really nice.
That's cool,
And so it kind of was one of those. It was an easy transition, It wasn't like, oh, I don't know where I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna have to make friends all over again in another place, and so and it was one of those situations where it kind of was, because for me, unfortunately, like academically wasn't like my strong suit. Like academically, I was just kind of like. I kind of went with the flow and did what I had to do. It was like almost like the bare minimum to just pass. But what got me was, it was like, well, you have to have a certain GPA to be able to play some sports. So you got to do what you got to do. So,
but I'm sure you didn't have problems with that, right? I mean,
no, not too much. I mean, it got to the point where I was like, okay, I gotta get my shit together.
Oh, okay.
But then it was like I kind of lost my interest in being there, and so then my mom was like, well, you got to decide, do you want to stick around or what are you going to do if you want to pursue something else? And so we started looking at some other places, and then, Paseo was kind of one of those situations where, like, well, it's an art school. It doesn't have soccer, but if you want to play, you can play basketball, but you can focus on music if you want to do music.
Okay.
Because at St. Pius, there was no music program. They had choir. That was it.
Oh, wow.
So there was no music at all. So that's why I kind of really focused on sports there for a while.
Okay.
And then once I went to Paseo, that's kind of where I refocused in on music and everything like that. And so my junior and senior year, I was in band, jazz band, all that stuff. Played drums and percussion.
Yeah. So you didn't do choir?
No, I didn't do anything. I'm a terrible singer. I'm a horrible singer. I can try.
But nowadays you can
auto-tune some stuff.
Auto-tune it, and change it up a little bit, make it sound really good. Man, speaking of, because I just saw this video, somebody brought it up on. It was a podcast they were talking about, but there's video of Bad Bunny singing, and it's. I mean, not that I'm a judge, but it would sound really, really bad. So now it's out there, and they're like, this guy uses auto-tune, and 'cause I don't know. I don't know how they got this footage, or I don't know. It's just weird. You have to check it out. But I'm like, wow. Okay, I mean, I've heard him sing. I like his music. But then you listen to this piece and like, ooh, does he really sound like that?
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, it could have been somebody just messing with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but speaking of the, high school, when did you start? When did you start to drive?
Legally?
However you want to put it.
Yeah. It was funny, man, because St. Pius, from where I lived, you had to take the highway. It was like a 15-minute drive. It was out north. So my dad obviously had to drive me at first, to take me out there.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna I'm gonna teach you how to drive.
Yeah.
You're gonna drive. So I think it was after it got bad weather, after winter, it was like around springtime, where he was like, take the minivan.
Okay.
You could drive. You have your permit. At least I got my permit, and you're just gonna drive yourself to school.
Yeah.
And so I remember just driving the minivan to school and with my permit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, what, 15 years old? I was like about 15 years old.
Okay.
Because I was still a freshman.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and thankfully I had a minivan, so nobody was like skeptical of what, So I remember just parking in just somewhere, in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
See, so you were the cool guy.
I was a little bit of a rebel, but whatever.
You got the van. Everybody
you got the van. Jump in. Come on.
Yeah,
that's kind of what happened. So it's like, where are we going after school? Let's go get some food or whatever.
Yeah. So because I was gonna ask, how did you get to school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I
how.
guess your older brothers weren't around.
No, they
Okay,
were
alright.
because they were already gone. They didn't live. They weren't living in Kansas City,
Okay.
and so yeah, it was kind of just me and yeah, like I said, because my youngest brother, he was 6 years younger. So yeah.
Let's put some names to these. Okay.
Okay, so my oldest brother is Enrique,
Okay.
but everybody calls him Quito,
Quito, yeah.
and then my brother Jean Paul,
Mm-hmm.
and then my youngest brother is Andres.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my oldest brother Quito, yeah, him and John Paul, they're 2 years apart. They both graduated from St. Pius. They each went to college. My brother Quito ended up going to Arizona State, and then got his degree there, and then ended up moving a couple places. And then it wasn't until he moved back to Kansas City for a little bit, and then he got married. Then he moved to the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And then my brother John Paul, after he graduated, he moved to Chicago for a while.
Okay.
And then he was there for a little bit, and then came back to Kansas City. And so, yeah,
That's cool. Shout out to your brothers. I know them all. Your younger brother, I think, how you doing? Hello, but I really never really met him.
Uh-huh.
But especially shout out to Quito, Enrique. He really helped us a lot. When my oldest son moved out to DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wanted to. Mighty went out there for a couple of years to do his thing in the political world.
Right.
And as soon as Quito heard that he was out there, he says, "You know what?" And he didn't know him. But he says, "You know what? I'll take care of him."
Oh, definitely.
And we had we went out. We dropped Mario off, and we had dinner with your brother and sister-in-law, and we talked. And your brother is like, "You know what? I got him. I'm gonna treat him like my boy." Me and you, we go way back, and that's much love, man.
For sure.
Definitely,
man.
And it made us feel really good to know that Marty was out there by himself, and he didn't know anybody. But then your brother came around, and helped us out. So Quito, shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to him.
Helped us a lot. Made us feel really comfortable that Marty was in DC and he knew somebody out there.
Good. Yeah. No, I mean that's what it's all about. We gotta take care of each other and our own, and especially if you're trying to do something elsewhere. I mean, especially and then if it became into the politic world, like that's a whole another ballgame.
Right.
That's something else.
Yeah, that's something apparently you didn't want to step into.
No, I did not at all. Like I was like the complete opposite of my brothers. Like they like that stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
I could get political a little bit, but I don't. I don't like to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
To a certain point. Because I mean, I still have to be aware of what's going on. I still have to know what's happening to.
We
the
all
world
have to keep our eyes open.
for sure. I mean, and for me, even just being an artist, like that's kind of part of our job is to kind of, express ourselves through whatever outlet that we are doing, but also speak up when it's times to be able to speak up.
Correct,
and especially if you're around certain communities or you come from certain communities, like you want to be able to be that voice for some people that don't have it or scared or whatever. So you still have to be aware of the situations that are happening around you at all times. And then obviously having my brothers who are actually into the political scene, like it kind of opens up your mind even more to be like, oh, this is going on or this is going on, or if they'll tell me like, be careful, don't go there, things are happening, stuff like that. So it's always good to have that and be able to just be aware of situations all the time.
Definitely. I'm gonna go back. I said Mario Enrique didn't know Mario, but I think he didn't know him because actually Mario danced with you guys for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is Mario?
He is Chris. How old's your brother? 20. He just turned 29.
Okay, so he's closer to Andres's age.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
So, and I remember there was times that Mighty was dancing. He was little, even with the Regina and BJ's son.
Oh yeah, okay.
Around that age group.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and so I think Quito would jump in there and dance when needed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a fill in or what, but he did his thing, and so I mean I could just say from then, he knew him, and then.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we all could up until our knees started hurting, and that's about it.
That's funny. Yeah. What was your first paying job?
My first paying job?
Yeah. And were you still driving that minivan to work?
My first real job outside of like getting paid from my family's restaurant doing stuff was Abercrombie and Fitch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where was
On
the
plaza,
location?
in the plaza.
Okay.
That when they had the one.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Why I can't remember. I think it was kind of just like
The clothing line.
I think the clothing line. I think it's because I might have been wearing the clothes.
Yeah.
I would go there, and they were hiring at the time.
Okay.
And I think somebody in there when I was like shopping were like, "Do you want to? Would you like to?
do you want a job?"
And I remember like, yeah, I actually do. I was
Were
trying
you,
to figure out what.
Were
to
you
do.
that kid who would go in there and just kind of look around and then leave and never buy anything, and then they finally said, "You know what? You're in here so many damn
Yeah,
times,
exactly.
and you don't buy anything. You must not have a job. You know what? We can give you a job. You can."
It probably was that.
Steal a
It
shirt
probably
once
was
in a
that.
while.
It probably was that. I think I might have been a paying customer maybe once or twice.
Okay.
And yeah, so I think that was my first like retail job, my first real job there for a little bit. I don't even remember how long I even lasted there.
Real.
And then yeah, and then after that I don't even remember. Like I feel like I've had so many random little jobs.
Yeah.
I also worked at like Express down in the plaza too when they had the Express.
What
the clothing line. The
Oh,
clothing line
okay.
Express. And then what else did I do?
Man, down in the plaza is pretty cool. Though.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was just retail is kind of interesting, you know, because it's like you
Yeah.
have to deal with people and, you know, they're not always the nicest and you're just kind of like,
All right.
oh, man. But if you came with a good attitude, of course, I'd be more than happy to help you. But if you're like being a pain in my
Did you work the register? Were you back
we had all
Did it
the
all.
above. You had to kind of do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I think around after high school, what else did I do? I mean, I worked for the school district for a little bit, for the Kansas City School District for a little bit. I actually worked at my old school at Foreign Language
Okay.
for about a year. I was the parent liaison there for a little bit. And then I actually had a friend from that school. His mom was the secretary there. And I remember one time he came in and saw me there working, and he's like, "Bro, what are you doing here? Why are you working here?" I was like, "What do you mean? I got hired to do this. I needed a job, and this kind of happened." And he's like, "Well, I work over at Costco.
Uh-huh.
I do the cell phones there, the little kiosk with the cell phones." And he's like, you could come and make so much money. He's like, you could work off commission and blah blah blah. And at the time, I was kind of dumb. I was like, more money? That sounded good, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, it gets me outside of doing something else. I was like, all right, well, after this year, I'll, see what's up. So
Okay.
I did. I went. He hired me right away, and that lasted only months. I was like, this is terrible. This is horrible. I was like, I can understand if you want to work at Costco, and I know they have some well-paid, good benefits.
I was gonna say, was the money good?
But it was more than I was making at the school. I mean, there was a couple of better paychecks just because, again, you worked off commission. So if you were able to sell more phones, obviously, your paycheck was nicer. But for me, it was like, how many of these people have cell phones already, are comfortable with their, companies? Like, I would have to go and be like, one of those annoying people that are at the stores that are like, hey, did you sign up for AT&T? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
those are the ones that I try to avoid.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you could tell you already felt like everybody's kind of avoiding you, So it's like, for me, it was like, I don't want to be standing out there and be like, hey, hey. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So that didn't last long. That probably lasted a few months, maybe a half a year. And then that's when I was like, I got to figure out what I need to do. What am I, what am I going to do? Because even before that, it was after high school, it was like, okay, I want to at least try to attempt to go to college and see what it is. Mm-hmm. And so I went about a half a year to the UMKC because I went to the music school there.
Okay.
Where I applied to go, or that's where I enrolled into the music school. And then I realized very quickly, I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Like, I want to play. I want to perform.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn all this music theory. I don't want to become a professor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play in an orchestra. I'm not, that's not what
that's
I
not
want.
What you
that's not what I do. I either want to perform or want to kind of get into the production side of music. And they didn't have programs for that at the time.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, well, this ain't going to work. So I stopped going to UMKC. And then I found out there was a audio recording school at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College at KCK, and so I applied there, went there for a year, and it was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense course. And then at that time too, even I was like, man, maybe I don't want to be an audio engineer. Maybe I don't want to be on this side of the music industry. Um, I don't know what am I what am I gonna do. So my mom was like, you have to figure it out. Like you need to figure out what it is that you really want to do. There, she was like, obviously, you love to dance.
Yeah.
You're very good at it. You know, would you consider going to Mexico and going to study at the university there in Guadalajara? Would you, would you at least try that? And I was like, yeah, I guess, yeah.
How old were you?
So, I was like 19, 20, around 19, 20 years old, because it was right before I was 21. And so I went. I remember going to Guadalajara and going there to the university and talking to the people there and with the folklorico dance group.
Okay.
And they're like, well, if you're serious about it, come back, audition, and then we'll decide if you are accepted or not. Because we happened to be like on a trip to Mexico, and so we kind of made that part of the first initial trip.
Okay, yeah.
And so then I came back home, thought about it. I was like, all right, well, let's try it. Let me, what else do I got to lose? I'm trying to figure out life at this moment.
Yeah.
And so I went back, me with I think it was just my mom. I can't remember if my dad went, but either way, I went. I got there to the school, and I went to the rehearsal, and the teacher came and got me, and he was like, "All right, get in line." And I was in like just
street
like
clothes?
yeah, I was like in like jeans and like I was like kind of presentable. I didn't know I was gonna have an audition.
Wow.
At that exact moment. I thought we were gonna talk, figure it out, come the next day or whatever like that. He's like, and I didn't have my shoes. I didn't have anything. It was kind of like, go in there, and I was like, fuck, all right. So and everybody was like dancing. At first they were dancing ballet. They were kind of like warming up and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I have zero ballet background. I was in the ballet 1 year when I was like 12 years old or younger, like that. I performed for the Kansas City Ballet.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's all I remember of any type of ballet. And so I got in there. I was in the rehearsal or in their warm ups and everything like that for about 30 minutes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been even shorter than that. And then he pulled me aside, and the professor was like, "Well, look, if you really want to do this, you are more than welcome to come back. You obviously have what it takes to be in the group or be in the school of dance and folklorico. So yeah, if you have a spot for you here, if you want to come back and do it." And so sure enough, within I don't know, I got my dual citizenship, because I don't know if it still applies now, but since both of my parents were born in Mexico, I can get naturalized citizenship.
Okay.
And so I went to the Mexican consulate here in Kansas City,
Uh-huh.
and I showed them both my parents' birth certificate, and they're like, okay, cool. So they gave me my own certificate, and they're like, all right, and my passport. So I got a Mexican passport. I got my certificate of authenticity of being a full-blown Mexican.
That's cool.
And so then because the school was cheaper, schooling was cheaper. If you're a citizen, school's practically free. College is practically free.
Dang.
And so, so I went. Then I went for a year. I went to go study there for a year. And my dumb ass got homesick, and I kind of just it wasn't necessarily homesick. It was more so just I felt bad because I was living elsewhere, but I was also still living off of my parents because I couldn't necessarily get a job, and I was mainly focused on, school. That's kind of what I was going there. And, but I also was I was 20 years old. I like my independence. I want to be able to move around freely. I didn't have a car. I would have to drag out my cousin to come out with me to go do some things.
Okay.
And shout out to my family in Mexico. I live with my aunt. She took care of me. Everything was, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
You know, but then I was like, I'm about to turn 21. You know, I'm not even gonna be home to celebrate. You know, I was just
Wow,
dumb,
okay.
just young thoughts that I was. Now that I think about it, I'm like, man, if I knew now what I knew then, like who knows, I could still be in Mexico.
If you could go back in time and
For sure. There would be a lot of things
Yeah,
I would change
right.
if I could go back in time. 100%.
yeah,
You know, and but I don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret the decisions, but it was more so just like, what if I would have stayed? You know, what if I would have finished it?
yeah,
What if I would have gotten my degree in that? What would I be now? Who knows? You know,
Correct, yeah.
you know what it could have been a lot of things. So, I came back right before I turned 21. And then that's kind of where the whole other stuff started. That's where I started working for the school district. That's what this other stuff
Okay.
all that stuff kind of happened. And then it was a couple of years later, and that's when I met making movies. That's when I met Enrique.
Okay. So as far as the dancing, you did the dancing in, in Mexico, and you came here, and then so we'll get into like the family businesses. So we'll start off with the folklorico.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so hard to say.
I know folklorico
I've
is hard
been
to say. Yeah.
practicing for the last few days. And what's the first word?
Nilco is the name of the group.
Atotonilco.
Atotonilco
And that is your family dance group.
yeah. My
right?
mom started
Your
the
mom's-
dance group. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so when you came back, and then I mean, did you help with that? Did you
Yeah.
coach?
Yeah. That was kind of the
Were you
main
a
thing.
coach dancing?
Yeah. Yeah. I was an instructor.
Instructor, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yes.
Yeah. I was an instructor. I
Okay.
instructed the group for quite a few years. After that, but that was kind of just like as a a side thing. As it always was. It was kind of just my most biggest hobby that I had.
Yeah.
Outside of sports and stuff like that was dance. I would dance all the time. And so I came back. Yeah, I came back and kind of was like the head instructor there for a while, and taught everything I learned while I was there in Mexico.
Okay, yeah. So you picked up some stuff over there.
Oh yeah, I picked up quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Which is why Mom said, "Get your ass to Mexico, go."
Exactly. Yeah, I think she had other ideas in mind for sure. But so did I. So I kind of, but I came back, with full intention to be able to help the dance group.
Yeah.
And obviously teach what I was taught and bring all that knowledge back to the group, and I did, and I had obviously I loved it.
Yeah.
And it brought up the group quite a bit, and so. So yeah, I it was hard for me to really kind of just decide whether or not this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Do I want to be a dance instructor for the rest of my life?
Right.
Or do I want to kind of still figure it out? Because dance was always going to be there for me. Dance was always going to, the group was always going to be there. And so, but I just couldn't see the future with it as much as I thought that I maybe thought at one day I could,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I was like, all right, well, I'll do what I can. I'll help with the group as much as I can. And so, and that lasted that lasted a few years at least, until like literally just, it was hard for me to dance.
Really?
I could only last so long, because again, my knees would wear out or something would wear out. And it's like, oh man, I could only do this for so long.
Were you the guy that when the kids would be like, "It smells like Ben Gay around here"?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Something's happening.
Was Aniceto Herrera dancing at the same time when you were dancing? Or?
So I would teach like them and stuff like that.
So you taught them, okay?
Yeah, so it was like my younger brother was Aniceto and all them. They were kind of like a little core group.
Oh,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
So there was a core group of them that was like, because there was the older group that it was like me, my brothers, and older, like either older teenagers until early teens, and up to the 30s at the time.
Lucero dancing as well.
Lucero danced,
and her sisters as well.
They all danced, and they were all kind of with Andres, my brother Andres, and Aniceto. They were all kind of part of that group, and a little bit younger. So there was quite a bit. I mean, you can. There was, I don't know, who knows what the count is today, but there's been at least 700-800 kids that came through the
That's
doors
awesome,
of the dance
though,
group.
man. Yeah, everybody has memories.
Everybody has memories from that, or people that I don't even know or don't remember.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, I danced for like 2 months. I'm like, okay, well, every day you tried it at least,
Yeah.
or they didn't last as long. But there's quite a few dancers out there that dance for quite a few years, like at least over 10 years. I mean, I started dancing when I was 3 years old and danced up until I was 30 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had quite a few years, and so those, like I said, those were really core, amazing memories that I will always have forever.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And we're in a transition mode right now with the dance group, kind of to figure out what's the next step, or where does it kind of go from here.
Oh, okay.
And so we're we're talking about that right now and seeing what's going to happen with the group.
How many years in with the dance
So
group?
the group started in what, 79?
79.
So what, 6 years?
So, okay, and then let's jump into Las Marias Tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how long have they been?
We've only been for 3 years.
Okay, that's been for 3 years.
Yeah.
But el
But
Taquito La Fonda is around the same time you guys started that, right?
Correct. So that that was started in 79.
79.
And that was started by my grandparents,
Okay.
my mom's mom and dad.
Okay.
And then that was just like a little hole in the wall up on 17th and Summit.
You know, man, it's crazy that you said it that way. I can swear that my grandfather, I can say that he took us there to that spot, and it was just me, my mom and dad, and he took us. I know that's got it, because that you just remind me where it was a hole in the wall up on the hill, right off of Summit.
Yeah, right next to where Alamos is at now.
Yes,
there's like a couple doors down, and that's where it was at for I don't know how many years.
Okay.
To be exact, but then from there they moved around a couple of places, other places in the city, until they just now we're at where we're at right there on the corner of Summit and Southwest Boulevard, and that's been there for, I mean, ever since I was a kid, like a little kid. So I mean, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old when.
So I'm sure you got memories from there too.
Oh,
right?
I got tons of memories from there. Being in there all the time, all the time. So it's like I say, like that's why I say I grew up in the West Side, because I was. Even though I was up the street in Coleman Highlands, the Chicano Heights, like they like to say, or whatever. I mean, I was always in the West Side, because even practicing, we'd always be at the Guadalupe Center practicing, or at the restaurant or wherever. I mean, I was always down there.
Yeah.
And even, playing sports, I was always at Secret Heart playing basketball.
Yep.
Or we're playing somewhere else around in the area, or up at Gage Park, or, Observation. And so I was always in the hood, and I was always in the neighborhood, and all my friends were in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, I had a lot of friends there still. So,
Observation and Mulkey.
And Mulkey too. A little bit further back, where the FBI. And so, we'd be at all those parks. All those parks, along with my brothers. Growing up, they would always be at those parks too. So it was just in there. And so my family has La Fonda Taquito, and then then after they also started El Taquito Tortillas.
Okay.
And so we've had that, and it's still going. El Taquito, and then So my parents and so my dad started the Las Marias.
Okay, so El Taquito is located in. Is that still in Central?
In KCK, yeah.
In Central, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you guys are still operating out of there?
They're still operating out of there. Yeah, so that's my uncle who's still operating out of there. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm late.
hello.
No, you're good.
You're right on time.
Yes, because
we're talking tortillas now.
well, not just that. I have memories from your grandpa when he had it there in Central.
Okay.
Because my dad was friends with him, so they'd hang out there and drink.
I believe it because I know all the stories. They would just They once they closed shop, they would just all hang out there and have their chelas and just hang out and talk and whatever.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. Yeah.
So,
you you reconfirm all the stories, all the myths, I guess, or whatever you want to say. Yeah. That's amazing. No, that's what happened.
Okay, so you guys are still running that facility there, and then now you have Las Marias Tortillas.
Yep.
And you said 3 years going.
Yeah.
So I remember with that clip that when it was you guys were on the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you and your dad.
Yeah.
Making tortillas.
Yeah.
And
with Kathy Quinn. Yeah.
Kathy Quinn.
Yeah. No, she's a good friend of the family. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So she came and supported, and
Okay.
she came by. She's like, oh,
I
come by.
want to get her on the show too.
For sure.
Yeah. I want to get her in here and. Yeah.
Definitely, we'll get her on here.
You know, I meant to ask you this earlier. So, John Paul, Juan-Carlos, Enrique, did he have a second name?
Well, Enrique, his middle name is Agustin.
So but he never went by Agustin Enrique.
No. He just always went by Quito.
By Quito.
Yeah,
okay.
everybody, because he was little Enrique, so Enriquito, so Quito. So yeah.
Okay.
So he's a junior, yeah. Well, actually, he's the third, technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you have a nickname?
No. I never, I mean, if people didn't want to say Juan-Carlos, they would just say JC.
Okay.
You know.
Which is the world's most famous initials. So.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So it worked out for a while. Up until recently, I kind of, one of my newest bandmates, he started calling me the OG.
See, oh yeah, I meant to ask you the OG.
And so that kind of just happened. I'm like, what? And then it just stuck. And
The OG.
so now everybody calls me the OG. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a story. I went to go get a haircut, and one of the young barbers came over, and he was telling everybody bye, and he said, "See you later, OG." I was like, man, I've never been called OG. It made me feel really old too.
I was like, I guess I got these grays really early, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's all right though. I guess I can't complain. I can't.
No,
complain.
that's funny.
Yeah.
You know, next game they just happen. You know, they're given to you. You can't do it. So it's like I can't take it back now.
Yep.
And what about Andres? What's he?
Everybody called him Spanky because he was like
For the
Spanky from the little.
Yeah.
And that was my aunt Sandy. That's his godmother too. She's the one who kind of coined him with Spanky, and so. But everybody called him Andres, and every once in a while everybody would be like, "Oh, yo, Spanky."
That's cool. I mean, it's cool to have a good little nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So John Paul, never. It was always like JP. You know, same
Paul,
thing.
JP.
John, call him JP.
Okay.
John Paul, yeah. But it's Jean Paul. It's not John Paul.
Jean Paul.
Yeah, it's Jan. Yeah, because my family. So my last name Chaurand is French. So my dad's father was French,
Oh.
and so that's where our last
Oh,
name.
man.
Okay, wait. So what was your grandpa's name?
It was also Enrique.
But what did they call him? He had a nickname.
Oh, on my mom's side.
Oh, that was your mom's side.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chino.
Chino. Yeah. Okay.
So his name was Agustin, but everybody called him Chino.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had curly hair.
Curly hair. Yeah, I remember that.
So Augustine, that's how Quito got
Got the middle name. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, but your dad's family, you said.
Yeah, so from that's where the French kind of comes from on my dad's side of the family.
Okay.
Yep. And so like all my uncles over there, like his brothers, they all have like my aunt Soulette and then my uncle Pierre and then Mauricio. So they all kind of have like kind of French,
nice.
names in them. But yeah, I was like, man, you had to give me like Juan-Carlos for real. And but I was like, I guess, but it was hard growing up for sure because everybody just wanted to call me Juan,
So
And I'm like, no, it just sounds weird.
do you put what is it called, a dash or a hyphen?
Yeah.
Do you put it Juan?
Yeah,
Juan Carlos?
purposely.
Yeah.
I put hyphen. Yeah,
Wait, so how do you spell it?
It's the same thing. Juan, Juan, hyphen, C-A-R-L-S.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, so
Juan
Juan Carlos,
Carlos.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but like again, people would hate to say Juan Carlos because they felt like it was a mouthful. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But so everyone's like, Juan. I'm like, no, just call me JC. If
Anybody ever call you just Carlos?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah, rarely. It was mainly just Juan.
Oh, okay.
Juan. And then when I played basketball, they would say 1, 2, 3 because I would shoot 3-pointers. And so it's 1, 2, 3.
I think everybody named Juan has that, always
The joke
as a
somewhere,
number
right?
one.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I grew up with. But up until recently, and now everybody's just calling me the OG, which is like interesting. It's weird. It is what it is. I don't know. I like it. I can't complain.
Yeah. But you are the OG in your group, right? Or no?
I mean,
Are you the oldest of the?
well, he's one more older, but I guess it was more so just like, so it was the drummer who called me the OG because like before he was in the band, he was a fan, and but he always thought like, he's like, you're the one who always just seems to be just in the background, just chilling, just hanging out, but you also know a lot of people, and you get to, so he's like, you're just like, you're just an OG, you're just an old soul that just and that's what that's kind of how it happened.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Let's go ahead and shift right into making movies. I gotta ask, and I'm sure everybody asks, how did the name Making Movies
come about? So the band was already had already started. They were already together for about a year before I came into the picture. But so Enrique, who's the lead singer, and his brother Diego, they are both Panamanian.
Okay.
And their parents are from Panama, and the dad also was a musician, but he liked rock and roll music, and he listened to again the Beatles,
the
and
Stones,
and
the
all
Who,
that stuff, and but there was a band and they had an album called Making Movies,
Okay.
and the band was called the Dire Straits.
Okay.
And so they had an album. Like I said, the album was called Making Movies, but I guess the title, it was called Dire Straits and Making Movies, like together, and it, like the same font and everything like that. So I guess Enrique was like, is the band name called Dire Straits, and the album's called Making Movies, or is the band called Making Movies and the Dire Straits? And so he was like, no, the band's called Dire Straits Making Movies, and so it always stuck with him, the Making Movies, and so he figured, one day if I ever have a band, I like Making Movies as the name of the band. So that kind of that's how it kind of came about.
That's interesting. It's interesting because I really thought you guys were talking about you make movies.
Make movies.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, you're in movies now too.
No. Only music videos. That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. And so you joined the band as a percussionist,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
Correct.
that's the way you got in there.
Yeah.
So a percussionist is somebody that plays the drums. What other instruments are there?
So it was like, I mean,
there's cowbell.
well, that's included for sure.
Okay.
So
I'm
percussion, like
I'm gonna become a percussionist with the
do it,
cowbell.
do it,
Right.
do it. I mean, percussion. I mean, there's a wide range of what you call percussion, but mine specifically is Latin percussion. So that's like congas, bongos, timbales. That's kind of what my area is.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I came in, saying I'm a percussionist. I hear that you're trying to do some Latin influence into your music.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, yeah, come practice, come to one of the rehearsals. And that's what happened. I just went to the rehearsal and kind of did my thing with what they were already, their music that they were already playing, because they were writing original music. And so they liked what I did, and he's like, well, if you want to stay and be in the band, then
Really?
come back tomorrow. And that's kind of just what happened.
Yeah. And so I know you said you don't read music,
Mm-hmm.
but you play by ear,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So playing that instrument that you play, is it the beats? I mean, do you come up with the beats, or do you listen to the music and then you fill it in?
Yeah, it's all rhythm based,
Okay.
so there's no notation. I mean, you can, obviously
So it's
there's
never the same.
not really. I mean,
Okay.
it depends how you look at it.
Okay.
Because obviously there's tones that go onto the drums. I mean, you have a higher tone and a lower tone.
Yeah.
Same thing with all the drums. So you have different tones. But when it comes to it, mainly it's just like all rhythm. It's all rhythm based. So Enrique will usually come to me with an idea that a song that he has, and he's like, it sounds like this. I have this and this idea. He's like, what kind of rhythm do you think will go with it?
Okay.
And I was like, well, play along, and I will start playing the rhythm, whatever it is, whatever kind of comes to me. He's like, okay, well, either that sounds good, or he's like, well, let's try something else, or I don't know, let's try another rhythm. And that's kind of how we kind of build the song based on that, and the rhythms and things like that.
Cool. Yeah. That's, That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you don't write it down, then you have to have to remember how you did it.
Exactly. Yeah, and so, but when it comes to that, like when it comes to rhythms and stuff like that, that stuff just kind of naturally,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
For him, it's a little bit more, more thought out, methodical, and things like that, and what chord goes here and what chord goes there, and where do we switch. But for me, it's more like, okay, at what point does the rhythm change, or where do we start, and how does it develop, and things like that. I don't have to think about notation and notes and stuff like that.
Okay. So you also play the keyboard, right?
Poorly, but yes.
Well, you
But
can
yes.
get by.
But I get by.
You ever
yeah.
play the box, the accordion?
No, I mean,
No?
I wish I could.
That-
That's one instrument that's really, enticed me.
Yeah.
But I've never, especially the button accordion, that's completely different. And then obviously you have the key accordion. And that, I could probably figure that one out just because I know how to play keys, play piano, or at least a little bit. So I could figure that out.
Okay.
But when it comes to the button, the Tejano stuff and all that stuff, that's a whole nother ball game. No, I can't do that.
It's a cool instrument.
It is a cool instrument. It is a cool instrument.
And to watch these guys do their thing,
Yeah, one of my good friends, Josh Baca of the Los Tex Maniacs.
Okay.
He's an incredible
Yeah.
accordionist. So when I see him, I'm just like, yeah, there's no way I could ever do that.
It's all right.
It would take me a very long time.
I'm sure he says the same thing when he sees you jamming away.
For
you know?
sure, yeah. Everybody has their own lanes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I feel like you could bang on stuff, you can get there. But with the accordion, oh man, that's different.
That's cool. How long have you been with making movies?
This year's going on 16 years.
Dang.
16
Oh, I didn't
years.
realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
last year we had our quinceañera.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a party?
We did. We had a party.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
sweet.
we had a party down at the ship down in the West Bottoms.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we threw a show, a quinceañera show, and Enrique
That's
put on a
cool.
gown and everything.
No way, dude. You serious? That's dope.
We were like, really? But that's Enrique for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all good. But we had a good time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, is he sporting the mustache right now?
No, he's not.
No.
He's
Because I've seen him sport the mustache.
Yeah,
I
that
saw
was
a video. You know what? It was funny because I saw a video that he did a TikTok video where he shaved it off and then he put one right back on. Dude, I fucking cracked up when he did that. I was like, because I did not know he was going that way. You know, he
Yeah, it was a part of a whole gag that we had. We planned all this whole thing, but it all
That was
started.
funny.
It all started because he couldn't grow a mustache
okay.
because he could barely grow facial hair.
Mm.
And I was like, you have to be patient, bro. You have to like just. It's gonna take you time because
Yeah.
obviously you can't grow it that fast. So it's gonna take a minute.
Is that,
So
is-
he toughened it out and he did it, and then that kind of just became a thing. And we're like, damn it. Why did we tell you? Why did I tell you to grow this thing out, man? Because he kept it and he wanted to keep it as a gag and a joke for a long time, and we ran with it for a long time. And then we made all these music videos. We recorded a new album, so it was kind of all a part of the whole stick, you know, the whole deal.
Yeah.
So it worked out. It
that's
worked
pretty
itself
funny.
out. It worked itself out. And so yeah, that video that you saw was kind of part of the whole thing, and it was really funny. It was really funny. So yeah, because he shaved it off and then put the fake mustache.
That
over
was
it.
that was hilarious. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
Because
it
he
was
caught me off guard. I was like, okay, he's going for the new look.
Yeah.
Nope. Put one right back on. Yeah, man. Shout out to you, bro. That was some funny shit. Yeah. What style of music would you say you guys play? What is it? It's Latin.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. You know, it's kind of all of our backgrounds combined. You know, kind of everything what we grew up with, listening to what our parents listened to. You know, like I said, both of our parents, both of our dads were rockers, so they liked a lot of rock music. Our moms liked to dance, so they liked a lot of dance music, and so we try to combine those two. You know, that's where, like I said, the rhythms and everything kind of came into play, because it's like, do we want to salsa rhythm? Do we want a merengue rhythm? Do we want a cha-cha rhythm? Do we want a whatever rhythm to go on top of these rock and roll chords or progressions and things like that? So it was kind of like, if you could think of a Santana, Jimi Hendrix, kind of Celia Cruz, all had a weird baby.
Yeah.
Musical baby.
Wow.
That's kind of what we went for.
That would have been
you know?
interesting to watch.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we do. We try to anything that we like, that we kind of grew up with, we
Just put it together.
Put it together. Yeah.
That's cool. What was it that drew you to the percussion instrument?
I think it wasn't well, like I said, when I started playing with Aslan, I had to learn all this music, all these covers and things that we were going to play, stuff that I either didn't listen to, or I kind of was just starting to learn about these type of rhythms and stuff like that. And as I got more into it and kind of went down the rabbit hole of all this music, I kind of just started falling in love with the rhythms and started falling in love with the instruments and things like that. So it was kind of natural gravitation towards all that. It wasn't like something just clicked or anything like that. It was just like, the more I did it, the more I loved it. And so that's kind of how it kind of came about.
The Aslan, are they still? They're still
Yeah,
playing?
they're still going. They're still playing.
Is that Portillo?
Yeah, Portillo, Uciel, Pesina,
and
and Jose.
Jose?
Yeah, Sustaita, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I like to get those guys on as well.
For sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But so you used to play with them then?
Yeah, I
okay.
used to play with them. They were kind of like my first band that I kind of got started with.
Okay.
If you had to put it into any type of category, because they kind of gave me my initial start to music, to really playing into, because they would have to sneak me into clubs and things like that, because I wasn't of age. I was only I was maybe 16 years old.
Oh yeah, in the
17.
minivan. You pull up
With all my instruments in the minivan. Yeah.
Yeah.
But where would you say you got your musical touch from? Like
My
mom,
dad.
dad?
My dad. Yeah,
okay.
my dad was a musician.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was a drummer. But also, like I said, the rhythms and all that stuff kind of came. Well, part of it too was Yeah, because of my mom with the dancing. So
Oh, okay.
it was all kind of blended together.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! So back in the day, your dad would be pop a drum in, and your mama be dancing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was kind of
that's-
match made.
Hell yeah!
A match made for them.
Well, then did you guys already talk about the whole dancing that you grew up with?
Yeah, we did.
We did for many years.
So you have to
You
listen
missed
to that
out. I
portion.
mean, you moved from dancing into actual playing the music. Then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that kind of took over later down the road. And so it was just a natural gravitation. It wasn't anything that I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss this, or I mean, I do miss it. I definitely miss dancing for sure. I there are times where I see it and I'm just like, I wish I was up on stage, or you know, there's definitely, or it just bring back so many memories that I've enjoyed, and so yeah, I definitely have my moments where I miss it. My knees don't, but
Oh, yeah.
or my feet,
Yeah.
but I do miss it. And there was a moment in time there in the beginning of the band that I incorporated dance.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that we would go into some type of folkloric rhythm or things like that, and I would actually dance.
Okay, is that the video you showed me
Yeah.
then?
So
Okay.
so we watched you guys back when you guys did the Tiny Desk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And dude, that was dope.
Oh, thank you.
I thought it was so cool that because I see you get up and I thought, oh, he's getting ready to sing, he's getting ready to do something, and then you dance on that nice little stage, that little 2x2
little
stage.
platform, yeah, little platform.
Did you carry that in, or was that already
Yeah,
there?
no, that's ours. That was
That's
ours.
yours?
Yeah, that little tarima,
Okay.
Because we would dance on those for our dance group. We'd actually dance on those for some
Oh,
dance,
no way, really?
some
Oh.
specific dances.
Oh.
And so I just brought one along on tour.
Do you still carry it with you?
No, we haven't. I haven't done that in a while. So we want to bring it back. We want to bring the dance,
Okay.
element of it back, because we feel like it was definitely a part of the show that a lot of people,
Because it was
people enjoyed.
it was really cool because
Yeah.
you had that beat going, you know, and then he was on the
Yeah, it's
that-
called a mejorana. It's
yeah,
from
he was
Panama,
on
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I thought it was really, really neat, man.
Yeah,
it was cool.
So
It was
once we
cool to see.
figured it out that we could do that, we're like, oh well, yeah, let's make it happen. Because when we went the first time I went to Panama with the group, they took me to like a traditional, like it was a traditional night out, like a dinner and a show type of thing.
Yeah.
And so they had the dances from back then and their traditional dances, and I saw so much of our dancing, like our folklore and their folklore, kind of combined, that I was like, wow, that obviously comes from somewhere else that's a lot older, and at some point something landed here that landed in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
And it definitely took on its own style. But if I could go up there and do those exact same
Oh,
steps with them,
wow,
you know,
yeah.
and because I'm like I could see it and I already know it, and even watching it, my feet were like doing
Yeah,
this
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of deal.
dancing with them.
Yeah, and so then after we saw that, then it was like, well, then how do we incorporate it in our show, or how
Yeah.
do we do it? So that's
Yeah.
kind of how that all came
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
And that's cool because I don't think anybody else does that, right? Like,
I mean, not that I know of.
Right.
Not that I know of. So yeah, we started that, and it, like I said, it became a big part of our show there for a while, and then but we realized we're like, we actually need to really do it really well for us to be able to kind of keep this going. And so I think we're gonna bring it back at some point.
That'd be
I can last at least a couple of minutes on the little tarima, so I can do that at least.
Yeah.
I won't run out of wind.
right.
And so you create your own beats?
Yeah,
Beats, that right?
yeah.
Can you
I mean,
can you
these
beatbox?
rhythms, no,
You never tried beatboxing back in the day?
no.
Okay.
I was
Because I was gonna ask you if you can do something for me.
no, I would embarrass myself right now if I tried. But I mean, I think the thing is with those type of rhythms, they're so old, they're ancient. These rhythms have been
Yeah.
around for a long time. So it's not like I'm creating something necessarily new. It's more so this is my style of it, or I know this will kind of go with what we're trying to do, or this type of music. So when it comes to that, I mean, rhythms you could do all kinds of rhythms and they last forever. But yeah, that's kind of how we go about it when we create our music.
Beside the practicing, rehearsing, do you just like practice on your own?
Rarely.
No.
Rarely.
So you just try to keep that
yeah,
when you need to work with the band.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, we'll have moments where we'll get together and rehearse, but again, that's even rare too. I mean, everybody as you get older,
Yep.
life happens.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody starts having families or things happen, and we got to do this and that. So it's like time becomes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, very precious.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, when you can, you know, I have my instruments at home, and every once in a while I'll do my thing and just kind of get a little bit of, you know. But also I have these other side projects that allow me to play.
Okay.
So I can kind of consider that my practice as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you own a drum set?
I do not own a drum
No.
set. Mm-mm. I haven't played on a drum set in a while. Like actually, like played
Yeah,
on a
drum-
drum
yeah.
set. It's been
They
a
have
while.
those electric ones, you know.
They do have those.
And then they're like
ones.
soundproof.
Yeah,
But
those
you
things are
you can.
expensive.
Yeah,
They're
I have a
pricey.
cousin who he has he bought his drum set and he just plays because he's just for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he wears so he can hear
Yeah,
himself
you can
play.
hear himself. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then he recently he said, yeah, we
And
just
everybody else is just here.
yeah right. And I told him, I said, dude, there's no way that your neighbors can't hear you. I think they have to hear you. No, they can't hear me. They can't. I'm like, and then the other day I was with him and he says, you know what? I got to notice that that somebody's been making noise on our floor or something like that. I'm like, dude, I told you. I told you.
That's what I'm saying. You're hearing just a bunch of pounding
Yeah.
and stuff. Like you're not hearing anything
Yeah.
else. You're just hearing all the weird.
Yeah. Man, it's cool. Did you? So when you joined the band, did you click pretty quick? I mean, you guys.
Yeah,
just-
yeah. It was a pretty.
Once they said you're in, you're in. And
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I mean,
Yeah.
my first show, actually, it's pretty funny because our first show was, or that I'd played with them, was at the House of Blues in Chicago.
Okay.
They had gotten the opportunity to open a show there for another alternative, like Latin rock band.
How big of a stage was it? How many people would you say? 500?
Oh, at least. It was probably closer to like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I mean, we probably played to about 500.
Okay.
Because we were the opener. So it was
Oh,
opener,
okay, so everybody's.
someone open, and then the headliner.
So
but
you
the fact- but-
were the opener?
Yes, we were the opener.
opener.
But it was a great opportunity, obviously.
Yeah.
And my first show being at the House of Blues in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's
I was
dope.
like, oh my God. And then after that, it was just kind of like a roller coaster, you know, just we hit the road ever since then. Like, I've been all over this country. I've
Really?
been
All right, Johnny Cash.
coast to coast, up and down. I've seen places that I never thought I would ever see.
That's cool.
And yeah, so it was kind of it was grueling for those at least those 5-6 years, you know,
Mhm.
just traveling and getting our name out there and doing everything that we could, playing festivals or whatever was any opportunity that was given to us, we
Mhm.
would take it. And that's kind of what we all agreed on. We're like, if we want to do this, this is kind of how we're going to do it. And thankfully, I got along with all the guys, and we had some changes throughout the years, but for the most part, it was always pretty a good. The core of us was, you know, it was always positive, and we never really had any issues. There was no crazy fights or
Mm-hmm.
you hear some horror stories with bands,
Right.
and you're just like, wow, they
Yeah.
went through that stuff, but we never had to go through.
So
anything.
there's 4 of you, right?
There's 4 of us, yeah.
There's 4 of us. 4 of you guys at the right as we speak.
Mhm.
How often is there a change in
So the
the
first
drummer or?
time, so the first time, so it was Enrique Diego, the brothers. Then it was the original drummer. Then they also had another member who was kind of doing my role at the time.
Yeah.
Just playing auxiliary percussion, and then I joined. So then it was us 5 for that first, I don't know, a few months, and then the Enrique's brother Diego decided he was kind of he wanted to do
Want
something
to go
else.
do something else? Yeah.
And so the guy who was playing the percussion or auxiliary percussion, he ended up learning how to play bass because his brother was a bass player.
Oh, okay.
So he naturally learned how to play the bass.
Mhm.
So then it was us 4 for about a good 2-3 years, and then the bass player decided he no longer wanted to do it. So then we would hire Diego. Like if he couldn't do the show or didn't want to do the show, Diego would step in and just play until Diego decided he's like, actually, I don't want this bank job anymore. I'll be a part of the band again.
Okay.
So then Diego came back into the band. So then it was again us four, and then the drummer decided he no longer wanted to do it. Then that's when my younger brother stepped in. So then it was a pair of brothers.
Oh,
That's
in the
cool.
band. So
Okay.
he was the drummer, I was a percussionist, and then bass player, guitar player. And then it was us for about a good solid 3-4 years. And then my brother decided that he no longer wanted to do it. And then we got the newest drummer, who's with us now.
How did that affect you?
It was one of those situations where it was kind of like a bittersweet moment because obviously we did things together as brothers that we traveled all over the place, experienced things together that not a lot of
Family members can do that,
siblings get to do. So it was it was a lot of fun to be able to share those experiences with him. And then once he decided that he wanted to kind of be out, it was I got it. I understood. It wasn't necessarily like what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was like, all right, well, we need to figure out what's next. I mean, it's not the first time we've been through this, so it's just on to the next. You can kind of learn how to deal with it and move on, and that's kind of how it was. And thankfully, we met Duncan, who's our newest drummer, and who's the one who coined me the OG.
Okay.
And he's been with us ever since. And then just up until about a year ago, Diego decided that he also couldn't no longer do it. He has a family. He has 3 kids. He lives in LA. And so for him, it was kind of really hard to travel and tour. So we've been hiring bass players, a couple of bass players, but we found a solid bass player right now he's also based out of LA. But but me and Enrique have been together at it for the whole time. So
And you guys have done projects just you two, right?
yeah, every once in a while.
Or
Well, we'll
maybe
do an acoustic thing together,
Yeah.
just him and I. If there's something small around town, or if somebody asks us, we're like, well, the whole band can't do it, but me and him
We
can
can
do
do it, yeah.
something. Yeah, and we
That's
like to
pretty
do
cool.
things like that every once in a while.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Are you a part of any of the writing the music? Is there any songs that are yours?
I have one song on the newest album that I co-wrote, but it wasn't like I didn't write any lyrics to it. It was more musical.
Okay.
But I don't write any type of lyrics. I mean,
Why not?
It's just not my forte.
Okay. Just not something you'd want to
Yeah,
do.
I feel like I would have to, it's, that also takes practice,
Yeah.
It takes, time and to be able to do all that. I'm not afraid of it or opposed to it. It just never really came to me to be like, do I want to write a song? Plus, again, I feel like writing a song, you have to be able to know chord progressions, and all that stuff. I don't know it well enough to be able to go on a piano and be like, start playing a song and this and this.
I mean, I want to hear a song about tortillas de maíz.
Okay, we can do.
You know,
I mean, I could make a jingle.
There you go. That'd be cool.
I could do a jingle,
Yeah.
or I figure that out at least. I can figure it out.
Yeah. Oh man. Do you have any solos? Any solo parts like in a song where you just jam it up for a good minute or so? And
For sure, when we're live, we all like to give each other some space.
okay, yeah.
And so,
So you introduce,
yeah, exactly.
Juan-Carlos and
Yeah, even there's a couple of songs on some albums too that he'll shout me out and I go on a solo and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, live we like to
ever put the elbow to it?
all the time.
How about the forehead hit get the hit?
That hasn't happened yet.
Not yet.
I might knock myself out if I do that.
Yeah,
But definitely the elbow.
Don't hit between the instruments. He got hit.
Exactly, got hit right on the head. But that's why I get it. But yeah, but no, we like to let each other, play
Do your
and
thing,
do your
yeah.
thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's the most challenging part of playing? As far as I mean, I don't know. It's just Is there anything challenging?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I guess what I could say is, when you meet or you see other people or musicians kind of doing the thing that you do, you always
Want to show out for them?
You always want to be able to, or aspire to, or you want to be able to get to a point to where like, I want to be there, or I'd like to be at that position to where I'm like, I can do all that, because there's so many percussionists and so many, people that I look up to and I've met and I've seen, and they're incredible musicians, So you always get that, just like, man, I need to be better,
Okay.
things like that.
You can use that, yeah.
Yeah, you could always. It's always motivation, always motivation to see those things. But again, that takes practice, that takes dedication, that takes time, that takes all of it to be able to get at that point. So, I don't necessarily think there's not too much necessarily challenging. It's more so just how do I, at what point do I want to? Am I happy with myself as the musician that I am? So
Yeah. You ever played alongside a DJ who plays with Stranded?
Recently we did like that little Cinco de Mayo
Oh.
play thing down at, you were there, right? Didn't you go to this?
Oh, when we
tin
were at
roof?
the ship.
Oh, the
No,
ship.
at the ship.
the
That's
ship.
where I saw you.
Okay, at the ship. Did we play together there? Well, we did
No.
something
No.
recently. We just jammed.
Yeah,
But
just jam.
We just jammed together. But
Oh, okay.
I actually need to get together with him. I told him I will call him and
Okay, that'd be
we'll
cool.
get together just to have some fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's a good dude. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like DJ.
It's do you have a favorite venue or a fiesta that you've played at where you're like, man, this was badass. I can't wait to do it again.
Man, that's so hard. That's a
Because I guess because you've done so many.
question. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just more so just like there's venues all over this country that I've played that are just like, wow, these are incredible venues and historic venues. And I've also even had the opportunity to tour and play with Los Lobos.
Yeah. That's
You
what I
know.
heard.
Yeah, so
What was that like?
oh man, it's hard to believe sometimes that I actually had the opportunity to do that because I listened to them since I was a kid.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, they did the remake of La Bamba for the movie.
uh-huh.
So that
Yeah, so they're legends. I mean, they're what, 50 years together,
yeah.
and I think they're like one of the longest living bands that still have the original members.
Oh really?
Yeah, and so
That's cool.
So be able to have traveled with them because one of the members, he produced 3 of our albums. Steve Berlin, he plays saxophone and keys for Los Lobos, and so we had met them because we opened up for them at Knuckleheads.
Oh.
10 years ago or something like that. I can't remember.
Really?
Yeah, and so then that's kind of where that relationship all happened.
Okay.
With them. And then, he became our producer there for a while. We became friends. We opened up other shows with them. We did many tours with them. But then they had asked me separately to be able to like go and do some shows with them as their percussionist.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's like meet us in Chicago or meet us.
Yeah,
That type of
they're like, yeah, can you do?
They fly you out?
Yeah, can you do these run of shows? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. So they fly me out. They take care of me, give me
Man,
my
that's
whole
dope.
like they treat me just as one of the members.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I could get used to this. It's like, oh my goodness, this is nice. And so, but they're all good people, every single one of them. They're so genuine, so nice, very humble. They every time they're at a show or every place that they go to, the green rooms are full of friends and people
Yeah.
they've known for years, and it's never a bother to them. It's always just like very welcoming. And so I feel like we've learned a lot from them. And we kind of feel like we're the same way. We always want to be able to welcome people wherever we go, and we like to make friends everywhere we go because you just never know. You just never know when you're gonna go visit, or you never know if something's happening, and I need to call a friend here or there, and so it's
How was you guys' show in Topeka?
oh, it was nice. It was
we had talked about it. Remember, I told you they were playing in Topeka.
it was a little
That was
like,
a Cinco de Mayo weekend, no?
it was
Okay.
a single mile weekend. It was a very intimate, just like a little tiny acoustic type of show for a arts organization there.
Okay.
And so, it was very low key, very chill, laid back show. So we
It was
enjoyed it. The
good
people
times.
got hyped and
Yeah.
had a good time with us. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the
Good.
largest number of people that you guys have performed in front of? Largest crowd?
Probably close to like 10,000 people.
Oh, wow.
When we opened up for this salsa artist named Ruben Blades, and he gave us the opportunity to open up for his show there at the National Auditorium in Mexico City.
Oh.
And so we opened up for him there. Because we collaborated with him. He found us online. He liked us a lot, shouted us out one year at the Land Grammys.
Oh.
And we connected with him right away. He wanted to collaborate with us, so we made one of our songs. He rewrote it, and then we did a couple other songs with him, and then he decided that he was like, well, I would like for you guys to open our show in Mexico, and
Man, that is cool.
in hopes for other things to happen. But that right after that is when COVID hit,
Oh,
and so we're like, damn it.
yeah.
But I'm actually about to go to Chicago next weekend to go see him, so
Oh,
we're gonna go hang out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Reunite,
He
maybe.
knows you coming out?
Yeah. We stay in contact. We still stay. I mean, which is crazy because he's a legend. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a salsa legend. He's been around for years, and so even just to have that connection with him is just incredible.
Is your dad living through you?
He is. Some, there's times where he is for sure. He loves it though. He's very proud.
Yeah.
He's very proud of me and everything that I've been able to accomplish with music, and for sure I know he lives some moments through me because he was at in the stages that he played, they were well known rock band that he played in, and so he already knows what it feels like.
Okay.
But then that's when he met my mom. They got married, and that was kind of it. So he kind of left it. He left it, and after he left it, he didn't think about it anymore. It wasn't never anything like, oh, I'm gonna start another band or anything like that. No, he's like, I'm gonna start a family. I'm gonna figure things out now, and that's what, now I have other responsibilities now, and so that's kind of what happened.
Right now that you said that you're making your way to Chicago to watch him, what are the chances if you get to go play with him? Like, it's got to be a chance. He might say, you know what?
I would say a 50-50. I would say 50-50.
Yeah?
I would say 50-50.
And you ready?
I'm ready.
to take that? Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm always ready. I'm always ready. I have to be ready, because you never know when those opportunities arise. So it's like you always have to be ready because you don't want to be the person that's like freezes up or I don't know or I can't do it or no. You don't want to be that. Yeah. So I'm always ready for whenever the stage calls for sure.
That's cool. Speaking of the stage, so you also play with Paranderos?
Yeah.
You also play with them, and that's when we saw you.
Oh, okay.
That you were playing with them.
Okay.
At the ship.
Yeah.
So we went with Tommy and Josie.
Yeah.
It was that night.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was good too. That was fun. That was really really fun. It was cool when you guys played the cumbias too. I thought that was
for sure. Yeah. So that band, I mean, we met them years ago too.
And they're from Iowa, right?
Yeah. So the founding members are based out of Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but the other guys, so the piano player that you saw, the trumpet player, they are in Colombia, in Medellin, in the actual country of Colombia.
Oh, okay.
And so every once in a while, when we get little tours and stuff like that, then we'll fly them in, and they'll stay for 2-3 weeks or a month at a time.
Yeah.
And then we'll do shows, and then they go back and do their own thing. But for the longest time, the Parranderos were just all based out of Des Moines. They were just a bunch of local guys that got together and started playing Latin music and playing salsa music. Because the conga player, he's a güero, he's a white guy.
Yeah.
But he fell in love with percussion. Same thing kind of happened, and he enjoyed it, and then got together with Fernando, who was the lead singer at the time. He still does
I met him. He's a cool guy.
And then they just kind of started their own thing and called the Parranderos. And then I met them when making movies. We like I said, we tour all over the place. We did a show with them in Des Moines, and we just became friends. And then I would always tell them like, "Yo, if you ever need me for anything, just call me. I would love to come play with you guys." And then that just became the relationship that we had, and then I just became part of the band. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And so not only them, but you also Sin Tope. Tell me about Sin Tope.
So Sin Tope kind of came about about 3 years ago maybe. No?
Okay.
With the DJ FK Menace.
Yeah.
And so FK Menace, I met him again randomly somewhere. I mean, all these stories kind of who you met, where they met, I don't know. At some point we met at somewhere, at a venue or at a thing. He played for something. I saw him. I liked his style of DJing because he's originally from San Antonio, Texas. And so we already have a connection with San Antonio too because we would go down there all the time. We would tour Texas a lot. So I have a big love and admiration for San Antonio. And so we made that connection, and then I told him, yo, I would love to play with you one time if you're, you play on the decks, and I'll play live percussion with you. And he's like, yeah, anytime. So he did a show at the ship, like in the smaller room, and he was like, I have this show. Do you want to come and join me? I was like, yeah, let's do it. So that happened. It went over really well. The people loved it, had a good time. And so we're like, okay, well, let's do this again. Let's figure out another show. So he would do shows every once in a while, and I was like, okay, well, I can hop on this one. And then same thing happened. People really dug it. I, had a good time just jamming with him and playing cumbias and all kinds of stuff and incorporating hip hop with all that and just a little bit of everything too, and just playing live percussion.
Yeah.
And so it came to the point to where like, yo, do you really want to, like, we should probably pursue this, if we want to do something that's different. Nobody does it here in KC. We're the only ones. I only know a couple other homies who do this outside of Kansas City.
Okay, so it is a thing.
Yeah, so it is a thing. So it's a project.
To play with the DJ.
Correct.
Really?
And so the project's called Sin Tope. So him and I were, the duo is called Sin Tope.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how it kind of came about. And we were just like, if we want to do this, let's name it. And then let's figure out how we want to do more shows together. And so we started doing a monthly thing there at the ship called Ritmazo.
Okay.
And it was a monthly show that we put on, or an event that we put on. And yeah, it did really well, and it continues to do really well. And we're actually figuring out a couple things for the near future, because our last show was last year in the fall. And we're like, this is our last show. And so now we're deciding, or now we're figuring out what's the next step, and we're planning a couple big things for this year.
Okay.
For the fall. And so we're excited. We're excited about it.
Cool.
And
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
it's a fun. It's for me, like I said, all these little projects are an outlet for me to just continue to play and have a good time and just enjoy myself and still be creative. And if I'm not doing stuff with making movies, I still have these other things that I can do.
That's cool. Until that one day where every project that you're in plays on that same weekend, the same night.
It's
You may have to
happened.
you may have to bounce around.
It's happened. Where
And
I've
then
had to
somebody
play.
may call you and say, "Hey, you think you can join us over here at
Yeah,
this
exactly.
venue because
And
we need the percussion?"
And I would do it. I'd probably do it. I'd probably do it. Yeah,
man.
no, it's all fun to
That's
me.
cool.
For me, it's all.
Yeah,
it's all fun.
FK Menace, he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
I've never met him. Really quick, I met him at the Cinco de Mayo there at the Guadalupe.
Okay.
He DJ'd there.
Yeah.
Because for War.
Right.
War was there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so I did shout at him, said, "Dude, I need you on the show. I've seen what he can do. I've seen some other shows that he's done." And and the luchador mask is cool.
Yeah.
And I own like 8 of them, so I don't know if I should wear one if he ever comes in. I think he'd be cool with it.
You guys might have to battle or something.
Yeah.
No, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to have you in, bro.
Oh yeah, we'll get him on here.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And and he tore it up there right before War. He got the crowd moving
Good.
before War came on.
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling Santa. Say like that's FK Menace there, and
Yeah, no, he's a
doing his
vibe,
thing.
man. Like I said,
and I'm like, I even sent him a message one day. I said, "Dude, I want to sit on the couch with you while you jamming out." He does that.
Yeah,
the couch.
uh-huh.
Have you been there? Have you?
Not yet. I need to go to one of them. We're actually talking about doing something super like laid back
Yeah.
for one of those. Yeah, because like
I like
he's
to,
the same
I like
thing.
to check him out at on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the same way. That's why I appreciate him, because he's trying to create his own
Yeah.
thing, and that's what I love about if you're a creator or be a creative, to be able to just decide you want to do this and you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And you have this idea and you just go and try it and figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to create. He's just trying to create these little pockets of things
Yeah.
for people to enjoy and him have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Is he a football fan?
I think so.
Being from San Antonio, I just need to know what football team he follows.
I'll have to ask him. I'm not
Don't be
sure.
smacking your lips over there.
I saw some cowboy stuff over there.
Okay, all right. That was,
But I mean, I'll let you slide with it.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
hey, Thanksgiving Day.
I saw that.
Yep.
I saw
People are
that.
starting to hit me up. Hey, what we doing? What we doing?
You going? Yeah. No,
I don't know. It's last time I saw the Chiefs in Cowboy, and it was in the old stadium, but the Chiefs went to Dallas back in '95. That was the last time they played on Thanksgiving Day against the Cowboys.
In '95.
1995. yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's been a long minute.
Okay, real quick question.
Yes.
DJ Menace, is that right?
FK Menace.
FK
Oh,
Menace.
FK Menace. When you and him hook up and you said you might have some things coming up in August or in the fall or whatever, how do people find out about that? Do you guys post it somewhere? Or
Oh yeah. So we both have our own social media, Instagram, but we also have one together called it's Sin Tope. So
Okay.
Sin Tope KC. So Sin _ Tope _ KC, and so we'll post on that. But then you could, like I said, you could follow me on my personal one. And then you can follow FK Menace on his personal one, and we're constantly posting about all the things that we're doing separately and together.
Okay.
So yeah, if you ever get a chance to check out anything that both of us are doing, highly recommend it. Not because it's what it's us, but we like to bring fun and we like to bring vibes to different spaces. And
we're definitely going to check you guys out when you do it.
I do want to, the combination of the DJ and your drums. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, the Sin Tope is a lot of fun. We create a vibe and we have a good time. Our biggest one that we really enjoy doing is Dia de los Muertos. And we bring out, we brought out folklorico dancers, and we bring out some guests, and we make it a big party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but that's what it is every time. It's just one big party, one big dance party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you doing? You good?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah.
Good? All right. So yeah, before we end the show, I want to ask you if you could build your own festival.
Funny you say that.
Of any genres of music, what 5 would you have performed, dead or alive?
Oh my goodness.
You can even go way back if you want.
That is so hard. Well, just to kind of pivot, but on the same path here is, so my band, we have our own music festival that we host. It's called Celebrate Americana.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for, what's this year? As Celebrate Americana, this is our 5th year, I think, that'll be happening in July.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what we do. We kind of bring in artists that we want to.
That's dope. So it's a thing, okay?
Yeah. So we either collaborate with, or we want to collaborate, or we want to hang out with, or we want to see. So we brought in like Ozo Motley.
Okay.
We brought the girls in from Flor de Toloache from New York City. We brought in Grammy artist winner Alex Cuba. We actually had the singer from the band Café Tacuba, who's like the biggest band in Mexico. His singer, he came in last year. We collaborated with him on a song, and he played. And so we kind of do it already.
That's dope.
Oh.
But we haven't gotten to the point where we could bring in or bring back whoever from Life to come and play our festival. But I'm trying to think who I would love to have on stage, man. There's so many, because it's like thankfully we played with some of our heroes, like Los Lobos and Ruben and them, and but man.
Like I said, any genre. You could bring in.
Oh yeah.
You could bring in the Doobie Brothers.
Right. Oh, that'd be fun. Man, that's a good question. Well, I would definitely like to. I've seen like Santana live, so having him play on a stage that I have, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Just because I grew up listening to his stuff. Who else?
What rock bands? Yeah, do you like out there?
Well, even just like Mexican rock, like Maná would be fun.
Okay.
I've never seen them live, but they're obviously they're Maná.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to see them. An English rock band, like I would like to see like the Police.
There we go.
I listen a lot to Police. Who else? Even older than that, maybe like. It's funny because I've been listening to a lot recently to Queen, because my son is now a big Queen fan.
Isn't there some? My son Chris back here likes Queen.
Yeah. He just started listening to Queen recently and got into. Now he went down the rabbit hole and started learning about Freddie Mercury and everything like that. And so,
has he seen the movie?
Not yet. I'm gonna show. He's been asking about it, so I'll the.
What's the Chris? What's the movie?
Is it Bohemian?
Bohemian, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
And so that would have been amazing to see Queen. And
I know, right?
Yeah, so
like that Live Aid concert back in the day. Can you imagine that?
No, exactly. So those.
Can you imagine playing to a crowd that big?
No, I could not. I could not.
Oh my God, that was a huge crowd.
Those are
Hell, you know what was cool about that? Run DMC was on that stage.
Yeah.
That year.
Were they that year?
Yep.
So
like they were the only rock. the only rap band out there.
So I feel like seeing those old music festivals, like being able to bring something like back like that to my stage. That things like that, because some of those aids and those shows, those concerts had literally everybody, and anybody,
right?
So it's like oh, if I could recreate that, I mean, that'd be a dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just there's so many to name, but I
Yeah.
feel like those are kind of like the beginning.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
come back. I'll think again. And
Yeah, okay, we can
I'll
do
send
that.
you a message.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right, so before we end, I got to know that people out there want to know this.
Okay.
I threw a survey out there.
Okay.
So they said we want to know Juan-Carlos's favorites. All right, so let's go. Favorite barbecue joint.
Oh, come on, man. Oh shoot. I think I have.
Just give me one. You're gonna give me 7, 8. Just give me one.
I obviously love Joe's
Okay.
KC, but I can't go wrong with Gates. You can't go wrong with Rosedale. You can't go wrong.
Because you got their fries over here. You got the ribs
that's
over
what I'm
here.
saying.
You got
the
sauce over
slaps.
here.
You got yeah. That's what I'm saying. You got everybody has their thing, so I can't necessarily say I just have favorite things about everything that they all like. So, but
if
Kansas
somebody
City, Kansas City and barbecue in general is.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody came up to you and said, I will treat you. Take me to.
I would even take them to
spot."
like what's it called? I'm trying to think where. Yeah, I would take him. I'd probably take him to, because even Arthur Bryant's has its own thing too. You know, like I mean,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Their
I was
own
like, what?
sauce.
It's like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you want ribs? Do you want a good sandwich? Do you want it like? But since like, what do you call it? Gates is close to me by the tortilleria.
Oh, okay.
So there's one right there on Brooklyn, and so we'll go and get like the beef nooner,
Oh, okay.
and I'm just like, I mean, this is a good, amazing sandwich. You know, I can't go wrong with that. So yeah.
All right. How about a favorite sport to watch?
Well, I love Kansas City's football, so I like to watch football. But also, I'm a big soccer fan. I used to love watching basketball, but that kind of fell off. But so I would have to say between football and soccer.
As far as basketball, are you talking college ball or NBA?
NBA. NBA. I'm not into
Dang,
college.
So you're not watching the NBA playoffs right now?
Now I'm getting into the playoffs now because obviously that's the only time I really watch it is the playoff stuff. But it was kind of after between the Michael Jordan and the Kobe era and all that stuff. That's kind of after that. I didn't want.
Okay,
the game changed so much.
Yeah,
that I was thinking about
This not on my list, but I have to ask you: LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. My nephew be like rolling his eyes.
I guess it just depends on when you grew up.
I think
what
so
era,
too.
the era you grew up.
Yep.
It is, but Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan.
Even though I wasn't a Jordan fan, I was not a Jordan fan, dude.
No.
Oh no! I did not like Michael Jordan because he always spoiled it for the Knicks. The New York Knicks are my team.
Okay. So yeah, Ewing and all that.
Oh, Ewing was the man. He's still my man. And
Yeah.
actually, they're playing right now.
I know.
yeah,
so
they're
Game
playing.
5. Yeah, hopefully they win today. Go to Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Anyway, favorite shoe brand?
Ooh, I'm wearing Nikes right now, but
So,
between
you
Nikes,
Nike guy?
I like Adidas too.
Yeah.
I like whatever's comfortable now at this point.
Oh, for us, this is a New
It's all about
Balance.
comfortable.
It's a New Balance, right?
Is
It's like the old man shoe. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
it's all about comfort.
There for a while, I was doing a lot of walking, and my kids were like, "Yeah, you need a pair of New Balance. They'll get you around.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll get you where you need to go."
Yeah, I'm not prejudiced towards whatever shoes.
Yeah. Favorite color?
It used to be blue, now black because I feel like that's all I wear is a lot of black. But I got a little blue.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Oh no, I think we were talking about that. Favorite movie?
Ooh, shoot. Just because we talked about it, La Bamba.
Oh, okay.
But I also like Sandlot.
Oh.
Sandlot's probably
Sound
up
like
there.
it's good. Yeah, that is a good movie. It's one of those you got to watch once if it's on. Oh
Yeah,
stay there.
exactly. You got to stay there.
Yeah. Damn, I was just thinking about another movie. Oh, The Breakfast Club, I think, is another
Breakfast
one.
Club those are good. That was just on TV the other day. I was just watching it.
Yeah.
That and 16 Candles and all those.
Yeah, all those 80s
All those
movies.
80s movies. Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah. Celebrity crush? Male or female? It don't matter.
Oh man, that's a good one. I haven't thought about a celebrity crush in a while. Well, I guess Salma Hayek. So even
okay.
up there. Between there, maybe Sofia Vergara.
Oh yeah.
So no, I mean,
Okay. I'm not mad at you.
if that, I mean those are the ones that come top of my head right now at the moment.
Yeah. Mexican dish.
Oh. Probably one that not a lot of people get, but carne en su jugo. Have you had carne en su jugo?
I can't say that I have.
Oh man, carne en su jugo is like beef, in a caldo, which is like, if you would think of like rancho beans or ranchero beans,
Yeah.
with some meat,
Like de la olla.
de la olla, with some bacon, with a
Okay,
nice
now you're
beef,
talking charros.
like almost like charro beans,
Okay.
kind of with beef,
Yeah.
but not ground beef, like
yeah,
chunks of beef,
Yeah.
cilantro, onion, rábanos,
Okay.
and it's, oh man.
Can we find this? Can we find this at El Taquito?
You cannot. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. It's very rare because
man.
not a lot of people make it. I don't know why.
So then where
But mom can make it.
Mom can make it.
is that
Yeah.
where you grew up?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you got that, and then traveling all over the place every once in a while. If I see it on the menu,
Oh, okay.
It's yeah.
I'm like, let me get that.
Oh, okay.
But I also love everything. I mean, anything. Mexican food is just the best.
Yes.
So you
Are
can't
you
go
s-
wrong with enchiladas or tacos.
Yeah.
or-
Are you a
Right.
seafood guy?
I'm not a big seafood guy, but I definitely I try everything. I mean, I like ceviche and all that stuff, but
Yeah. There's this spot up the street, Mariscos KC.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know Mariscos.
I know there's one in Oleta,
Uh-huh.
and they just opened one up the street from us here.
Mm-hmm.
There's Siete Mares.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
so good.
Just a soup there, every freaking piece of seafood in there. Oh,
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
we're going there. We're going today.
We're going.
Yeah.
Favorite time of the year?
Summer.
Summertime.
Yeah, probably because I'm a late summer, early fall baby,
Yeah.
and so. But I love the fall here in Kansas City too because it's just nice.
Yeah.
It just feels nice and all that you see everything turning. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But summer, I mean, I enjoy summer because I like warm weather.
Have you ever been through Boston like during the fall?
Yes.
I did one time just for a work thing.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just, and we were flying in. I was flying in, and during the fall, and it looked really cool.
colors,
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it was really cool.
Each northern coast are beautiful around that time. Like even the the west northwest, like
Yeah.
up there, like Portland and Seattle and all that. Like oh man, northern Cali, like all that stuff
Yeah.
is really pretty up there.
Okay.
For sure.
Favorite T-shirt? We all have that one T-shirt that we just like to put on because of the way it feels. You don't have one?
Ooh, man, that's probably one of my band T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I think I feel like it just
feels
it
good
just
in
feels
you,
good.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like that one. Let's
Yeah.
get more of those.
yeah. Yep. And your favorite podcast you've been on? Yes, I'm putting you on the spot.
Right now, Big Mom.
Right,
Let's
Big
go.
Podcast. Thank you. I
Let's
appreciate
go.
that. Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you coming in.
No, thanks
This is
for
fun.
having me.
Yeah, this is.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Where can the people find you? You know, if you want-
So I mean,
and this your camera right there.
that
that's-
one's my camera.
Yes,
I
sir.
guess the best thing is if you know on social media, Instagram is the best thing where you can find me. It's like my full name, Juan-Carlos Chaurand, and look me up there, and that leads to all kinds of things that I'm doing, to the link to my band, to all my projects that I got going on. So everything you need to find is pretty much on my Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, I would say just look up my band, Making Movies. You can find it makingmovies.world and see when we're coming up and type of shows like that.
Definitely, yeah.
And then you could maybe request me on Facebook and get lucky and see if I add you. So you could take your chances on that too if you like. If I recognize you, I will add you. If I don't, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. So yeah, but that's how you can find
Yeah, and then shout out to of course the businesses, Las Marias.
Yeah, shout out to
Tortillas.
Las Marias, shout out to La Fonda El Taquito, shout out to everybody who's been supporting for many years
Yeah.
and things like that. We appreciate it. It's been long family running business, and so we're thankful we've been able to do it for as long as my parents have been able to do it as long as they have, and
Yeah.
continue to do it. So, but they're ready to retire.
I bet. Yeah.
They deserve it.
Yeah, they're ready to retire.
Yeah, and please, everybody out there, if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel or show, please do. We'd appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, whatever you could do to help us as well, because we are stuck at a certain number and we can't get off that number yet.
Come on, you guys can do it.
Please,
We'll make it
let's
happen.
do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, but all right, again, brother, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This was fun.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming in. Chris, you good? Sam? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the Big Modcast. This was episode, I think, 145. Very top corner. Is it 145?
It's a 1 and a 4.
Damn it. Okay, I'm going to say it's 145. Yeah.
145. That's a good
Yeah.
number.
It is. All right. Thanks again. Adios, people.